Hello. Today I'm going to critique the New York City nuclear preparedness public service announcement. This is a 1 minute and 36-second commercial. So, to be fair, there's only so much you can do in 1 minute and 36 seconds. So they probably should do a whole series of these things, similar to what the British did with their, Prepare and Survive uh, series they did back in the 70s and 80s and whatnot. But we'll look at it. They get some things right. Other things, well, maybe they minimize, but they're trying to do as best job as they can. I guess one has to, look at it in that way. At least it's better than nothing. And it's the first civil defense public service announcement I've seen since, well, back in the 80s. So let's start. Let's start it. Now
So
look
there's
at New
been a
York.
nuclear attack. Don't ask me how or why, just know that the big one has hit.
Okay, so there are some assuming that this is a surprise attack or you wanted to give them very little warning. So it could be uh, s- uh, one of my followers remarked that they were probably thinking about a terrorist attack. Certainly something in the 10 to 20 kiloton range, tactical. In which case, things are, unless you happen to have the misfortune of being in those, a few hundred yards from where that thing blew, you got a fighting chance. Um, Maybe about 400 or 500 yards, maybe you'd be, certainly far less if you're under the subway because people in Hiroshima survived. They were literally almost at ground zero, but they were inside a bank vault or in the basement of a large reinforced concrete building. So the other alternative is, of course, the Russians launch a surprise attack under the cover of their annual nuclear readiness exercises, giving very little warning, do as a preemptive. Sub-launch missiles coming pretty fast. You have maybe 15 minutes at the most warning to do something, uh, which is actually probably almost a better scenario than the terrorists setting off a bomb, because if they set off a bomb, you have zero warning, and then you have to, make sure you're not looking at the flash. If you see that first flash, don't turn around to see the second flash because there's like two flashes in a nuclear weapon. They have the first one, and if you're looking at it, well, you're going to be in bad shape. Your eyes, you're going to be flash blindness, maybe temporary. Worst case scenario, being permanent. But if you're looking away from it, you see that flash, and you instinctively turn around. Don't, because the second flash will then fry your eyeballs. And then, of course, then you have to sort of like hit the dirt, head facing away from the flash. Protect your head, open your mouth to equalize the pressure between the outside and the inside of your body when the shock wave comes by, barreling by. And there'll be two shock waves, one going out, one coming back in. So you have to stay covered until the second one came through, and then you have to try and find shelter. And we'll talk about that. So let's see what they say. Like I said, you only have a minute and a half really to do it, so there's only so much they can say.
Okay, so what do we do? There are three important steps that I want you to remember. Step one, get inside fast. You, your friends, your family, get inside.
That is true. You have, from the time the thing goes off, you have maybe 10 minutes before the fallout comes. So you have to get inside fast. If you have an alert, off of your cell phone, or because that's pretty well I have, nobody really has sirens anymore, then you have to get inside before the thing goes off. I mean, you don't want to be outside when the blast happens. I mean, because so what do you want? You want to get inside somewhere deep. New York, you're lucky. Other big cities have extensive subway systems. You're lucky enough because the subway is just a perfect place to hunker down in. Just get as far away from the entrance as you can. Don't go onto the tracks unless you know the trains have stopped running. Otherwise, you get run over by a train. But once you know the trains have stopped running, into the tunnels would be the best bet. If not, the deepest level of a parkade, you don't want to be near the entrance because fallout can come drifting on in, or the deepest level of a basement in a large office building or mall or whatnot, or a condo. If you are in a large concrete building, like say the Empire State Building, a center floor, if you can't get anywhere else, is in the center of the building towards the elevator core is your best bet. Those new buildings are just nothing but glass. You don't want to go anywhere near the glass. In fact, those places are going to get blown right through with any amount of overpressure. And the only safe places would be the fire escapes or the elevator core in that sense. Okay, let's go see what else she has to say.
And no, staying in the car is not an option. You need to get into a building and move away from the windows.
Yep, that's true. As I said, stay away from the windows, otherwise you'll be shredded to pieces. Cars provide no protection against fallout. The only time a car is useful is if you can drive into a parkade in your car, go to a lower level, and provide you just a little extra bit of protection and away, and then you can sort of seal the vents in the car and not have to worry so much about fallout coming through. Speaking of which, I would recommend, since everybody has them, carry a COVID mask around with you, like I do a KN95 because you don't want to be breathing any dust along the way, because otherwise you could really, die a horrible death that way.
Step 2. Stay inside. Shut all doors and windows. Have a basement? Head there. If you don't have one, get as far into the middle of the building as possible.
Well, try and get to the basement of something or another, because, like I said, these high-rise office buildings and condos are got floor-to-ceiling glass. It won't take much to blow in those windows, that's for sure. So, yeah. Again, if you're one of those things, try and get into the fire escape and try and make your way into the basement. It's probably your best bet. But if you do have a significant, far enough away that the windows won't be blown in, and the or then definitely shutting the doors and windows is a good thing. Seal them with plastic, duct tape, whatever. For the first few hours, maybe 3 hours at the most, because that's when the fallout coming down will be at the heaviest. You don't want to have it sealed for more than about 5 hours, or otherwise you could suffocate to death. So you don't want to suffocate to death from that.
If you were outside after the blast, get clean immediately. Remove and bag all outer clothing to keep radioactive dust or ash away from your body. Step 3.
Okay, that is important. And if you're using a shampoo, do not use a shampoo that has a combination with a conditioner. Conditioner will actually bind the fallout to your hair, and you'll just be, eventually it'll just end up with brain cancer or worse, central nervous system death if it's nasty enough. So yeah, and if you don't have any spare clothing, well, better be buck naked than being radioactive in that sense, because this is nasty stuff. Yeah. Stay tuned, as she's going to say.
Stay tuned. Follow media for more information. Don't forget to sign up for.
Okay. Again, the cell phone system may probably be down. So it's always good, like, if you're carrying sort of a day pack, like you go to work, like a Swiss gear thing, and it's always good to keep a few little things in there, like maybe you can get these small little transistor radios, dirt cheap, with a few batteries, just so you can listen to the radio stations, and I also have a couple of bottles of water in there too. So you can get through those first 3 days without having to try and go out into the fallout to find water, because you only last 3 days without water. You can get something to bridge over.
Notify NYC for official alerts and updates. And don't go outside until officials say it's safe.
That's true. You don't want to be wandering around out there, because how many people have a dosimeter or a Geiger counter with them? I mean, I have one of these little disposable little card things. Yeah, but that's about it. Um, and it only tells you kind of how bad it is, but kind of too late in that sense. But if you have no water, you may have to go out, but wait at least 2 days before going out. I mean, there's the 7-10 rule of fallout. After 49 hours, which is roughly 2 days, it'll be only 1% of what it originally was. It's still nasty. It still can get you really sick. So you don't want to go out unless you absolutely have to. If you're dying of thirst, better try and find a vending machine and pry it open with a tire iron or one of those axes. They sometimes have firemen's axes in part of the fire extinguisher station in these large buildings to do that. Again, if you're in a big city, there's plenty of good places you can hunker down. And don't let people tell you that we're doomed. Why even bother trying? I actually got annoyed when I saw the guy. Obviously, he's trying to sell his prefabricated bomb shelters, but he was mocking this commercial, saying just bend over and kiss your ass goodbye. No, if you're in a large city, there are plenty of places underground you could hunker down in, stay down there at least a few days, as long as you can before dying. If you get too thirsty, you need to find water. Food you can last a few weeks without. I mean, but again, raid their vending machines if you can. And there we have it. We can talk a lot more about sheltering in a later video. But again, stay tuned. Stay inside. Get inside. Stay inside. Stay tuned. It's decent advice as long as you pick the right place to be inside. Okay.
All right, you've got this.
Yeah, it's no guarantee. It all depends what they hit New York with. It'll probably maybe at least a 500 kiloton because it's a prime economic target. Maybe even the 800 kiloton, and that gets pretty nasty. I mean, if you're in a total destruction zone, there's nothing you can do about it. It's just getting luck. But if you're outside the total destruction zone, get inside, stay inside. Get deep. Basements. There's plenty of large buildings that have basements, and or subway systems, and hunker down. And it's not I hate to say it, it's not the end of the world. It was going to be the end of the world for a lot of people, but it is survivable if you keep your wits about you. One suggestion I would make is if you can't leave the city and move out to the boonies and work remotely from there or for family purposes, on your way to shopping, look around. Where would you go if the alert went off? If all of a sudden your cell phone rang and you had like 10, 15 minutes before the first bomb hit, where would you go to? Just go along the way, see where the subway entrances is, see where large parkades are, large buildings that have, multiple basements, on your way to work, on your way to where you go shopping, on your way to where you go to, catch the opera or a symphony or a concert or a sports venue, stuff like that. Always be kind of aware of where you would go if the bomb was dropped. If you had like only 10 minutes, where could you get shelter to? And carry a few things in a little pack, like a couple of bottles of water, can 95 mask, maybe even a pair of little extra coveralls or something like that. If you have room for that, maybe some granola bars or stuff like that, and a small radio. Just have a few little things with you. It doesn't take more than a couple of pounds, but it can make all the difference in an emergency. So, and you can also look at the short videos I've done and other videos I plan to do on the tips for nuclear survival. Yeah, you can do this. It's not, it's going to be horrible. It's going to be horrific, but it is survivable with proper preparation, a bit of planning, and keeping your wits about you. Bye for now, and see you in the next video.